Okay, folks, hi. It's another Thursday night. It's the third of our Rubies and Above series. Tonight's special guest is Dori ONeil, who probably doesn't need much introduction to this group. We're going to do something slightly different tonight. When you heard Jana and you heard Michelle, basically I asked them to tell us a little bit of how they got to their position, to their rank. And, you know, those stories are illuminating. There's always gems and learning moments. But Dori has a reputation as being the three-way king of Igalen so far. He's reputed to do 30 to 50 three-way calls. And obviously, if you look at the results that his organization has achieved, a lot obviously has to do with his ability to talk to people at all levels and share with them the value proposition of Igalen. So what I thought we would do today, is basically do almost a role play where I'm going to be the prospect, and let's say Jana has called Dori and asked him to do a three-way call so that he can convince me to get involved in the business. And so we're going to basically have a recording of what Dori does when he is on a call with one of your prospects. And then I'm going to ask him a few other questions and maybe give him a couple of objections so we see how he handles them. And that'll act as a good foundation for all of you to kind of understand how you might want to be doing it. So, Dori, are you okay with all that?
Oh, sounds perfect. Yeah, wonderful.
I'm going to to the speaker view so we can have you focused as soon as you start speaking. So, Dori, the phone's ringing and you're answering, and Jana, let me see, I'll find Jana and she's going to tell you something about me, and then we're going to get started. Hold on, where's Jana? Here she is. Okay, I'm unmuting you, Jana, so you can set up the call and I'm the prospect. Jana, you're on.
Okay. So you're the prospect, John, correct?
I'm the prospect.
Can everyone hear? Because I know that it's getting scratchy and it's going in and out.
No,
the volume. Is everybody okay?
I hear you.
Okay, good. Awesome. All right. So
you just
hi, Dori.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. Hi, Dori. This is Jana, and I have someone that I'd like to introduce you to. He's an amazing guy in the network marketing industry. He has a great background. He is a retired chiropractor. He has a lot of incredible education behind him that makes him adore the health industry. He's been very successful in the past. He's been one of the greatest leaders in the industry. And I'd really like you to meet him. He'd like to know some more about Igalen. I'd like to introduce you to John Gluckman. And John, I'd like you to meet Dori, my really good friend and one of the very top leaders in this company. He's one of the founding leaders. He has always maintained that status and he's growing constantly. He's a super successful guy. He actually came out of kind of a retirement of the network marketing field, to be honest with you, because he had been taking care of his aging parents, and he had a consulting company that was doing extremely well, and he's actually shelved that as well for the time being because he feels that we have an amazing opportunity with Igalen. So, Dori, I'd like you to meet John. John, this is Dori.
Wonderful, wonderful. So what I'm going to do, just to break that up a little bit, I just want to say a statement here. When you're speaking to someone and you're just talking, you're only sharing what you already know. So the art of three-way calling involves questions. So I will interrupt myself as I go through this, and now we'll go back into role playing. So John, pleasure to meet you. What part of the planet do you live in?
Hi, Dori. Dori, likewise, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm in South Surrey, White Rock, and I've been there for a couple of years with my elderly mother.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. How old's mom?
She just turned 92.
Oh, wow, wow. So, as Jana said so eloquently, you have been a chiropractor for many, many years. I take it that providing good health and healing for people is very important to you. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely, Dory. That's it's been a value of mine for.
I already know that. I know, but the thing is,
John, you disappeared on me.
Okay, go ahead, Dory.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything you said, but I assume you told me a wonderful answer. So now, once John tells me that, I would go along and I would say, so John, what do you think one of the biggest challenges facing parents today is when it comes to eating habits?
Well, the news is just full of all kinds of admonitions and warnings about the amount of sugar and GMOs and carbohydrates and, fats. So, people are getting obese, including myself. So, that obviously is a present danger every day in my life. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Sugars.
Well, let me share with you a scary statistic. At the turn of the century, people were consuming, so this would be in the 1900s, 18 pounds of sugar per person per year. Today, they're consuming 180 pounds of sugar per person per year. That's scary, isn't it? Now, don't answer, John. What that is, ladies and gentlemen, is what's called a tie-down question. I asked John, I got permission from John to share a scary statistic. The statistic is, and it's a true statistic, at the turn of the century, people consumed 18 pounds of sugar per person per year. Today, they're consuming 180 pounds of sugar per person per year. So I answered his question for him by saying, that's a scary statistic, isn't it? That's called a tie down. The whole objective when speaking to someone is to get them into a realization of the challenge and to agree with you on the obvious points. Okay? So John is clearly going to say, yes, that is scary. And so I might say something along the lines after he answers me. So John, as a chiropractor, you must find it frustrating at times to provide answers for people how to get away from sugar with all the sugar that's around us. It's a challenge, isn't it? Second tie down in a row. See what I've done? So he's going to agree with me, and a mom is going to agree with me, because if it was John was a mom or a dad, I could say the same thing. I could say, Jana, it's scary, isn't it, how much sugar our children are exposed to each and every day? Jana is going to go, yes, because I've already given her a statistic that we are now consuming 180 pounds of sugar per person per year. She's already agreed that that is a scary statistic. And when I tell her, when I share with her that it's difficult to keep your children away from sugar because there's so much of it everywhere, that's a real challenge, isn't it, Jana? Or isn't it, Dr. Gluckman? You can interchange the people just by changing the sentence structure slightly. So now that John or Jana has agreed with me that the children, and it's difficult in consuming, keeping children away from sugar, you can say, you know what? That's not the only challenge we're facing. Adults are consuming just as much sugar. And in fact, there's evidence, I don't know if you read the statistics, but up to 30% of people in the province of British Columbia or in the United States could be pre-diabetic. That is a very scary statistic. Wouldn't you agree? Third tie down. What you've got is you've got people, instead of me going, oh my God, sugar's a problem, you got to get off it, you got to do this, you got to shotgun them. What you're doing is a natural conversation with a yes answer coming through to you. I didn't invent this. This is Encyclopedia Britannica, 28 yeses to a sale of an encyclopedia by some stranger knocking in the door in the 1960s and charging you $1,200. $1,200 was like $12,000 is today. And it's the most effective form of selling in the world, because really what you're doing is you're sharing details about the crisis without telling someone. You're getting them to agree by using questions and tie down answers. Wouldn't it be nice, another tie down, if there was an easy and simple way, Dr. Gluckman, to keep your patients safe even though they're exposed to large amounts of sugar? Wouldn't that be nice? Double tie down.
Yes,
Double tie down. I've got him to answer yes twice. He's not going to say no, it wouldn't be nice, because he's already agreed with me at the beginning, and his mind is going, oh my God, this guy is like my brother. Why? Because we're in total agreement. He's agreeing with me in each and every step of the conversation. And I'm waiting till he gives me the answer. There may be other side little conversations that he said, and that I elaborate on or I talk to him about. But again, it's all about questions. And I could say something along the lines, Dr. Gluckman, I'm sure you're aware that a person that has challenges with sugar is likely to face huge medical bills in their future. Wouldn't you agree? So would you agree that preventative measures, if they were natural, would be a better choice than being treated by a doctor for the toxic effects of sugar?
I would, yeah.
So he's agreeing with me on every step of the way. So now what I would say, John, I'm here to share some very good news with you. Wouldn't it be nice if there was an easy and simple way to keep people safe? Children, adults, pregnant women, nursing mothers, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? So now I would transition into, would you like to hear about this simple and easy way that you can offer your patients, or if it's Jana, offer your children, if it's a stranger, if it, whoever it is, a simple, easy way. So he's already said yes about 12 times up to this point. And what John is going to do is say, yes, I would like to hear about this solution. Wonderful. Do you know what the significance of a Nobel Prize is, John? It doesn't matter his answer, but most people will say yes. Well, I'm sure you would agree that getting a Nobel Prize would be considered very prestigious. Two scientists invented an all-natural product called Emulin that's patented, and that simply by taking 3 capsules a day can eliminate the egregious effects of sugar and carbohydrate and lower low-grade inflammation. That's powerful, isn't it? So now, and you can modify this if there's different paths. The best way to do this is to practice in the mirror. Just to practice in the mirror. You don't need anyone with you. You can, or if you have somebody that's supportive, you can go through these types of questions and just write them down. But remember, when you're speaking, you're only learning what you already know. When you're asking questions, you're gathering information and you're getting into rapport with the individual that you're communicating with, so that you will naturally share the logic of why Emulin is the right product for them. Okay? So now, the secret is to handle the objections before they come up. Don't wait to the end. So John, you agreed with me that treating somebody that has suffered the effects of long-term sugar and carbohydrate exposure could be very expensive from a medical point of view. Isn't that right? Well, imagine if you could take Emulin and the cost was just pennies a day. And you could protect your family and at the same time avoid all of the challenges from excess sugar and carbohydrate and avoid many of the diseases that will come as your exposure increases to sugar and carbohydrates. It's a very simple and easy solution. And here's the best part. Wouldn't you agree that a natural, safe product is better than a pharmaceutical?
Always.
Yes. Yes. So that's exactly what Emulin is. Now watch this sentence, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't it interesting how you and I think alike?
It's very good.
You see what's happening here? Isn't it interesting how you and I think alike? Because all of the points that we've made, and I've never had anybody ever say, oh no, it's better to be the medical route. Oh no, I'd rather take the drugs. Oh no, I'd rather have my children exposed to sugar. Oh no, what do you mean? I want to give them cotton candy for lunch, and I want to give them jujubes and M&Ms for dinner. No one says that.
No.
So they're all going to be in agreement. But when you try and bull rush and throw something at somebody by saying, oh my God, you got to see this product, Emulin, and you come across like you're like losing your mind and you got this massive amount of excitement, they're going to think you're a sugar addict and you're out to get them. So you got to take a step back and you just have to have a natural conversation, you know? And I always start off the same way. That's my kind of trademark. John, we're in the planet do you live? Because we talk to people all over the world. Get into a couple of rapport building questions. Health is important to you, isn't it? You know, start moving along the lines about the challenges with sugar, the challenges with the health concerns, the challenges with the increased medical costs, getting people to agree. Wouldn't it be better to go the natural route rather than deal head on with outrageous medical bills and all that entails? Yeah, of course. I don't know about you, John, but I'm not a real big fan of hospitals. I try and avoid them like the plague. Right? I'm getting into rapport. I'm not just hammering everything to do about Emulin. I'm sharing with him and I'm getting him into agreement. So now let's go to the next stage of this series. So Dr. Gluckman, I see that you're retired. I assume that you're on Canada pension or some other means?
That's true.
Yes, that's true. You know, I was reading the other day how challenging it is to live on a small pension.
That's true.
Would you agree that you could use some more money?
Absolutely.
You know, the bottom line is, here's the beauty of what we have here with Igalen and Emulin. They give the people the opportunity to get healthy. That's important to you, as you've already agreed. So now I'm actually telling him what he said to me. And now, simply by sharing, John, let me ask you a question. So again, I'm asking a question, and this is called changing gears. I'm asking the question. John, let me ask you a question. Would that be okay? John's going to say yes.
Sure.
You've been to a movie that you've really enjoyed, and after seeing that movie, you just couldn't help but sharing it with everybody. Isn't that right?
I usually do, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's true for me too. Wow. So let me share something with you now. When you take Emulin, and of course, you're going to find that this product is going to produce the results that we talked about, help protect you from the ill effects. If you, now this is what's called a hypothetical tie down, if you got the benefits that I described, you'd want to share this product with others too, wouldn't you?
I would.
Well, here's the really good news. When you share this product with others, Igalen compensates you, pays you in US dollars. That's exciting, isn't it?
Especially
Now, I'm emphasizing the isn't it and that for the purpose of pointing it out, but you would be more natural. I'd say, well, here's the great part, John. You know, as you get the results and as some of the people you introduce Emulin to get the results I've described, here's the big news. The big news is they pay you commission. That's exciting, isn't it? So I don't overly emphasize the isn't it and the tie downs. I make that into a natural question. Now, cost is a potential objection. So this is the way you deal with the cost objection before it ever comes up. You don't leave these things out so that you get hammered with them. You get John to agree. John, have you ever heard that opening a franchise can be upwards of $200,000 to $500,000?
Sure.
I'm not asking. So most people are going to say, "Yeah, I've heard that they're quite expensive."
Yeah.
And there are a lot of challenges with opening a franchise because you could be in serious trouble if you picked a wrong location for your franchise. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep.
So here's the beauty of what you get as an Igalen distributor. There's absolutely one fee to get involved. It's only $29.95 a year, and that's it. And then the only thing you have to do is buy inventory to stock your store. So regardless if you opened a tire shop, a corner store, or whatever, you have to stock it with inventory, don't you, John?
Yes, you do.
And it's pretty obvious that the reason you need the inventory is to sell the product to somebody else, right? So here's how simple it is. Simply by purchasing 10 bottles of Emulin, which we call a gold pack, for $500 and whatever, you can get into the price. You're not only going to get a massive discount from the $79.95 retail down to $50, whatever it is, $53.95, whatever that is. Just have your cheat notes in front of you. And that's a significant savings, isn't it? So you hear what I said? 79 to 53, that's a significant savings, isn't it? Here's the good news, John. When you sell this, because we're going to give you a website and somebody comes to your website and you say to your neighbor Fred or your patient Jack, just go to my website and check out the product and pick it up. And who's not going to want to improve their health, right? John's already in agreement. Galen's automatically going to pay you the difference between the $79.95 and the $53.95, and you don't even have to stock the product. It's good. It's crazy. And then you have 10 bottles yourself for your own use, and you have product when you run into somebody, a friend, that you can actually supply them with instantly. So you get the best of both worlds, and it's a very simple and easy system to duplicate because it's just about sharing good news. So I've already covered the price. I've already covered the benefits of retailing. I haven't got into some massive detail about networking yet. And then that's the next part. You've heard of the term team. Together, everyone achieves more. Have you heard that saying? Write it out. Together, everyone achieves more.
Yeah.
Kind of a common thing. Well, here's the other part of Galen. I think they're geniuses, whoever came up with this. So you don't take credit for it. You give it to a higher power. I think they're geniuses. As you share the product and people get results, would you agree that there's a lot of people out there, John, that could use an extra $500 or $1,000 a month to cover their bills?
Yep.
Well, you're forming a team, and you only have to form 2 teams with Galen. And when you form 2 teams with Galen's not just going to pay you the retail commission. You're going to get an override commission on all the product that's moved through your team. Pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yes.
So now I just take him through to the process of, so there's 2 options here, John. You can get started on a gold pack, which is 10 bottles of product, and your average wholesale is going to be $53.95 a bottle. Or if you're really serious and you want to make, well, let me ask you, John, do you want, and I interrupt myself, do you want to make a little bit or a lot of money, John? Now, the answer, it doesn't matter what he says, okay? So it doesn't make any difference, right? So he says, no, I just want to make a little bit of extra money because I got a responsibility for my mom and all of that stuff. That's fantastic. Great. So let's get you started with the gold pack. Now, is there anybody in your family that's a type 2 diabetic or has sugar challenges? Because it's important when we get to this stage. Here's what we have 2 products, a C and an M, and of course this challenge will be behind us very soon because we're coming out with the E for Everyone product very soon. But the bottom line is, I say, John, great, part-time, let's get you started. All you have to do is go to my website, select this, and I recommend, because you have diabetics or don't have, whatever his answer was, picking up the 50-50 split, the 7-3, the whatever it is. And here's the great news. Is having support important to you?
Yep.
Well, we have an amazing support structure. We have this angel on our team. Her name's Jana Jorgensen, and she is so amazing. She will support you to no end. In fact, there's a rumor that she can actually walk on water. Haven't seen it myself, but that's the rumor. So we have this amazing support team that helps people in the business. Don't worry about anything. We're going to walk you through everything. We're going to invite you to calls, and it's at your pace. Is it important that you work at your pace and learn at your pace? Yes, it is. Oh, great. Fantastic. So all I've done is just kept John answering yes to questions that he must answer yes to. And you're in integrity because the product is good, because the product works. You couldn't do the same thing with gasoline. I couldn't say, John, you understand that gasoline can really act as an antiseptic. Consuming gasoline is healthy for you, isn't it? That doesn't work because you only can use this technique when you're in integrity and you're saying stuff that is generally regarded as being the truth. Now, of course, you're going to run into somebody that is maybe like John, a detail-oriented, scientific guy that's going to throw a million questions at you. So John's going to ask me, John's going to say, well, hey, this sounds fantastic. Thank you very much. But is there scientific documentation to back up what you've just said? You know what I answer to him? Is scientific documentation important to you?
Yes.
Yes. Fantastic. Yes, we have scientific documentation coming out the wazoo. In fact, we have clinical studies. We have many, many interviews. Would you like to have that scientific information sent to you? Yes. He's never said no in this entire conversation. He's said yes to everything. And so when somebody throws something at you, it's called the porcupine. The porcupine means when John says, is there scientific data backing up this product? I don't say yes, there is. I say, John, is having scientific data important to you? Yes, he's going to say. And I'm going to say, fabulous. We have all the scientific data you need. That's great, isn't it, that a company is so well documented? He's now agreeing again, and when he gets the documentation and sees how good it is, he's going to be satisfied. You don't have to create an objection out of an objection. You just keep asking questions. And believe me, I've done probably, 100,000 of these. I learned this when I was 20 years old. I had a mentor that taught me this. I ended up teaching this. If you learn how to ask questions instead of flapping your gums, I'm not being rude, but that's what most people do. They talk too much. They get into details that aren't important to the person. Remember, you're addressing the person you're talking to. They're on the phone with you or on a Zoom call because they want information. They don't want you just shotgunning and machine gunning details and descriptions because you don't know who they are. Do you think it would be important to learn that Shannon had 2 children and that she's constantly dealing with the challenge of keeping them away from sugar? Yes, of course it would be important. So when I find that out, I would say, Shannon, I've got good news for you. We can really help you get control over your eating habits and your kids will never know it. That's pretty exciting, isn't it? You see how easy it is? So it's questioning and dealing with objections by throwing the objection back at them. Now, let's deal with another one. Wow. It's in US dollars. That's expensive. $53. So, Shannon, you think that $53 is too expensive? How much too much do you think it is? Now, I'm going to let her talk and share with me what she thinks, and I'll go, well, let me ask you a question, Shannon. Would it be better to have healthy kids free of the medical system and the expenses related there, or would it be better to basically have a product that provides your children with safety, good health, control sugars and carbs for just pennies a day? Medical. So again, through questioning, and getting her to answer, well, no, it would be better to avoid the medical challenges and have an all-natural product. And you can also basically do that for any objection that anyone comes up with. Now, if somebody says, there's only 2 reasons why someone won't get involved, okay? They'll either be a customer, which is fine, because last time I checked, neurosurgeons don't generally join network marketing companies. So why go after them, right? Now, if you have rapport and it's your brother, or if you have a sister-in-law that's an endocrinologist, it might be a slightly different challenge. But John, I think you would agree that the challenges you had with your sister-in-law were profound. Isn't that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. And he does have a sister that's an endocrinologist, and it wasn't easy, and he's related to her. So my point is, there's only 2 things. Number 1, they're in a position that's so lofty, that's so specialized, that it's difficult, and you should just leave those away, because it's easier to pick off low-hanging fruit. The other objection is they don't have the money. If they truly don't have the money, they can't make their rent, they can't buy their groceries, that's a real challenge. So then you work with them in whatever way you can to help them get to the position where they get the money. Now, what you'll find is that most people have the money. What's stopping them is fear. They don't want to spend the money because they're afraid they're going to lose the money. So if I was talking to Brian, and Brian said, geez, you know, I just really don't have the money. And I would say, Brian, it must feel terrible not having the money. And he would say, yes, it does. Wouldn't it feel great to have more money? Fabulous. Because he's going to say yes. He said yes to both questions. So I now might change gears. It's called changing gears. I might say, Brian, so right now you don't have the money. And remember, we're in rapport. Brian likes me. He said yes now 56 times to me. We're in rapport. Brian, can I ask you a personal question? Yes. Fabulous. What are you currently doing to overcome this situation? He's going to tell me whatever it is. And in most cases, it's going to be nothing. And I'm going to come back to Brian and I'm going to say, Brian, let me paint you a picture. Would that be okay? Yes. Fabulous. Here's the picture. You come up with the money to get started in this business. Now, you've already said that having strong support is important to you. Wouldn't you agree? So now Brian has said, yes, that's very important to you. So when you started your current job as a mechanic, you started off as an apprentice. Isn't that right? Yeah. Okay. And did you have a senior person working with you, guiding you? Could you take apart an engine with the first day you started in your apprenticeship and put it back together again? Probably not. Well, here's the good news. You can be my apprentice. How would you like me to hold your hand, walk you through the process of learning how to share Amulin, which we've already agreed, sharing something that's good for people is easy, isn't it? He's already agreed to all this stuff. He's not going to now not agree because I've already taken him and had him agree that sharing a product about natural health is easy. So I'm going to work with you. That's important to you, isn't it? I'm going to introduce you to other people within our team that will also work with you. And We're going to help you earn not just a little bit of money, but enough money so that you don't have a challenge like this in the future. Wouldn't that be great? Yes. So here's my suggestion. Let's get you started today. I'll book, now you just take the initiative. I'll book a time with you. I know you're working at the garage. What would be the best time for you to get involved and to be on a call, say tomorrow or the next day? Notice that I have just immediately transitioned him into owning the business. You see what I've done? He's transitioned in. I didn't ask him. I said, when would be the best time? I've got him to subconsciously agree to being part of my team. Brian, when would you have the time in the next day or so to book a call and work with me and get you get your apprenticeship started? He's going to tell me, okay, Wednesday at 2:30. Fabulous. Is Wednesday at 2:30 a great time for you generally, or would there be another time that also works for you? You see where we're going? Because Brian, the only reason he's saying no is he's afraid some boob's going to sign him up that's not going to work with him. And I know that on this call, there are no boobs. We have serious people that want to help people. Isn't that right? Everybody wants to help people here. Everybody wants to share Emulin because it helps people enjoy a healthier lifestyle. And when you add prosperity, that's powerful, isn't it? So that's what we're doing. We're sharing information in a way that allows people to overcome their fears, their apprehension, and take a step forward. And the biggest challenge is that you that are doing and using this have to be in integrity. If you say you're going to be on the call with Brian on Wednesday at 2:30, you need to be on that call. You need to get him the information because there's a concept here called leadership. So you're all in the business. You're on with some leaders right now. They're guiding and training you. If your child was introduced to a business like this, you'd want that kind of support, wouldn't you? So then you should be offering that kind of support to anyone you bring in. That's why it's called sponsoring someone. Sponsoring someone. Taking responsibility to help them through. So, anyways, that's kind of the simple overview, and guaranteed that if you did this correctly, that virtually no one will have an objection, because through questioning, you will handle all of the objections that they have, regardless of what they are. Here's one last thing in closing, and that is it's important to practice. So John's recording this. He's going to put it on Team Emulin. He's going to put it on the Success Tribe and wherever else it's going to go. Watch this over and over. And then make yourself a commitment. When you're alone, when there's nobody to bother you, or if you're, afraid of somebody laughing at you or whatever it is, just sit in front of the mirror and ask yourself the questions as though you're doing this. And when you find yourself going, oh my God, did you know Emulin has myrcetin and quercetin and all that? Do the old Three Stooges and poke yourself in the eyes, club yourself in the head, and go, oops, I should have asked a question there. Right? So that's kind of the training. Thank you, John. I'm off to move some furniture now.
Excellent, Dori. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Thanks, Dori.
Your master.
Yeah. You're welcome.
I'm going to unmute everybody so that everybody can say thank you. Everybody's now.
Thank you, Dory. That's fantastic.
Amazing. Oh my God.
Thank you, Dory.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
All right, you guys
Thank
look
you,
for
Dory.
this.
And it's easy.
Look
You're
for this.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
We'll be watching for Jana to walk on water.
Okay, I really
It would
hope
be it
between
would be
walk on water and
fantastic, wouldn't it?
Brian, she won't need that boat.
I was just going to
Yeah.
say, walk on water with the boat. You got it made, kid.
There you go.
Okay,
I'd rather see her turn water into wine.
Yeah, hello.
There you go.
there you go.
And everyone will drink it. There we go. Okay, everyone. Good night and take care. And we'll see you on the success side of life. Bye bye.
Right on. Good night.
Good night. Thanks, Dory. Thank you, John.
Yes, thank you, John. Thank you,
Thanks,
Jana.
all.
Hey, I see Brian with you, Jana. Hi, Brian.
All right, I'm turning
Thank
this
you.
recording off.
Thank you, John. That's
There you go.
great.
See you guys.
Thanks, Joe.